Evolution, creation. Ever since Darwin's theory of evolution first came to exist, the two have been seen as polar opposites. They can't exist together. But what if they can? Then you might ask, how did creation come to be? What came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, today's lesson, abiogenesis, which is one prominent explanation for creation of life on Earth. The definition of abiogenesis is the theory that living material evolved from non-living matter. This theory has been around since the early 20th century, but today it's still unproven and even controversial. Regardless of whether you or I actually believe abiogenesis is the correct origin story, we still need to be able to understand this important biology concept. Because without abiogenesis, or any origin of creation story, there would be no biology, because there'd be no life. Plus, the theory is a combination of ideas from physics, biology, and chemistry. So let's get started. Abiogenesis is similar to the theory of evolution, which says organisms change or evolve as traits most helpful in survival are passed on to the next generation. But like the chicken and the egg problem, evolution doesn't tell us what came first. Cue abiogenesis. Let's start with the second law of thermodynamics, which says the entropy or disorder of an isolated system always increases. Think of it like this. If you drop a plate, it will break, becoming more disordered. The disorder comes when the pieces continually spread apart and by chance form new things with new pieces. Stop. Here's where things get a little fuzzy. Up until this point in the lesson, all concepts and explanations have been verified and widely accepted. But here's where scientists don't always agree about what came next for Earth. Abiogenesis says that these atoms, which were all from various elements, arrange themselves into the most efficient configuration, which happens to be DNA and RNA. These are basically the instruction manuals for a living thing. They contain genes, determine traits, why you are who you are. Every living thing has them, and according to abiogenesis, they were the start of it all. The combination of all these elements in the high heat and pressure are what scientists call the primordial soup. From this soup, a very important monomer called amino acids was created. Why so important? Well, when linked together, these monomers become a polymer, protein. These proteins are then used to form the first cells of life on Earth. And from these first cells, unicellular life on Earth was born. Evolution took hold, and life on Earth slowly evolved, becoming more complex as the years passed. Flash forward about 3.5 billion years, and you'll find an Earth today crawling with over 8.7 million known species. According to abiogenesis, this can all be traced back to the convergence of molecules on primitive Earth. Abiogenesis was spontaneous and unprecedented. It's an ongoing learning process that even today, discoveries are still being made that could either progress or disprove this theory of the origin of life.